Hello and welcome to Smart Money, brought to you by Daily Investor, South Africa's largest online investment publication. And today we meet Connie Bloem, who's focused on building capital markets of the future. She believes leveraging tech-driven solutions will change the way we interact with the financial world, transforming the financial industry by making financial and capital markets accessible to everyone. Connie joined the 42 Markets Group in 2016 and is currently spearheading the development of its potential unicorn business, Mesh, as its managing director. Connie, thanks so much for your time today, and we're going to launch straight into it. A Web 3.0 platform business. Make a bit more sense to us. What is Mesh.trade and why did you start it?
So I think the term Web 3.0 is so topical at this stage because we're used to the Web 2.0 world where we log in with usernames and passwords and Google and Facebook and so forth. And all of a sudden technology such as blockchain came in and we're all worried about things called Bitcoin and so forth. But what does Web 3.0 actually bring to you and why is it so big that everyone should know about it? So when we started looking at building Mesh, we looked at the capital markets and we fundamentally thought that the capital markets, even though things are working, they're actually broken. It can be better. More people can be invited into the fold to trade on a daily basis, whether you have 10 Rand or 10 billion Rand. So we decided to start building Mesh.trade. And what Mesh does is it's a multi-sided platform that allows people to directly buy assets and sell assets from the center of the capital market. Mm-hmm. And everyone should be invited to have a seat at that table.
So when you say that it's a multi-sided platform, what exactly are we looking at? Is it issuers on the one end and investors, whether institutional or retail, on the other, in the traditional sense? I mean, how does it work?
Absolutely. So we invite issuers to directly connect with their community of investors. So what this actually means is we serve both our sides of the market, but we also provide insights for the regulator into the capital market space. So for issuers, we tell them that welcome to the future of capital raising. So whether you are bringing your company to the table or your project to the table, meet the people that really are interested in investing into you and tell them why they should invest into you. And then on the investor side, whether you're a retail or institutional client, you can also invest directly into these companies or these projects if you are so inclined. So imagine when Apple came to market the first time, like when they were still a little baby company, imagine you could have invested into them right at that point. And today they're a $2.8 trillion company. How much they actually grew. So we want to give everyone the potential to actually invest in these fast-growing and exciting companies of the future.
Connie, given what you've outlined up to this point in terms of the ecosystem that we're looking at, the fact that the platform offers clients direct access to capital markets, to traditional, digital, and alternative financial asset classes as well, it doesn't sound like much of a unicorn. So how's this any different from the current market?
So what happens in the current market is there's very niche players in each of the segments in the market. So what we actually have access to is siloed effect. So whether you can get to a traditional stock exchange and whether you can invest into something like a Bitcoin or in a unique fund, you have to go to 3 different places to actually get that. And generally, as we look at any single trader in the market, there's around 20 to 40 people involved in a single transaction to take place. And we don't believe that it should be like that. You should be able to trade all these asset classes in a single place to have a balance and a whole portfolio view for you to actually truly make informed investment decisions and or save towards whatever your personal goals are. So whether that is buying a house, going to America, or growing your company's investment portfolios, they're all fine. And you do need access to the full scope of assets. And nowhere else in the world can you actually do that in one place. So what we effectively do is we compress the entire market into a single elegant flow and onto a single platform where everyone can access to trade with each other.
This simplicity, what impact do you see it having on transaction time and costs?
So the simplicity which comes with the compression of the market actually brings forth that obviously we can bring in a lot of cost savings. So we estimate that we can actually reduce the transaction costs between 40 to 80%, depending on what kind of transaction that is. But I think the biggest benefit is actually coming through with the transparency that is being delivered by the single platform. Imagine you can actually see who all the people are that are owning your asset at the end of the day. So you can know who to service when you put the outer equity, or if you can actually have transparency into what you're investing into at the end of the day. And hopefully then we would have less scandals such as the FTX scandal, some of the 2008 financial crises, just because we are making the entire industry more effective and more transparent for all.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a multi-sided decentralized financial markets platform here where users can tokenize and trade any asset class across any geography. Let's get into what tokenization is and how it works with traditional, decentralized, and alternative financial asset classes.
Absolutely. So when people look and think about a token, they generally think a token is only restricted to something called crypto assets. And these assets are assets that you are well aware of. They're usually in the newspapers called Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, some of the biggest asset classes within the cryptocurrency space. But what happens if you take a well-known instrument such as a bond? I don't know, Alicia, when was the last time that you were able to purchase a bond very easily, but I suspect it wasn't very recently. Imagine you can actually take a bond and also transact it like it was a cryptocurrency, so on a token, and still have the full scope of responsibilities and contractual obligations that you would have buying a normal security or assets in the market. Nothing changes from it on a legal perspective, but it becomes more transparent and becomes more open. So what is a token really? So a token is a unit of measure that is actually living on the blockchain. And some people do compare it to like a database entry. So let's say you have an Oracle or you even have an Excel spreadsheet. That single line item that tells you there's 10 peaches in my store. We can also tell you you have 10 tokens, which represents 10 peaches in your store. And that is what tokenization of assets actually mean in our world.
Connie, I've got to ask, do we have a regulatory framework keeping pace with your plans to shake up the local capital markets using technology, blockchain technology like this?
Up until recently, we were very much struggling within the South African market, but recently the South African regulators have introduced new regulations. And these regulations have been called the CASP regulations, which actually opens up the financial markets to service providers such as us who want to provide their business in a responsible fashion. Because we've always said that we are doing extremely forward-thinking and forward-looking things in the market, but we're not going to do that to the detriment of either the market or our clients. So we've been asking for these regulations and also providing input where asked, so we can actually structure a segment of regulations that is good for the South African market in whole, and it can also include more people to participate in this market. So we've welcomed these new regulations that have been taking place since June of this year. So what that effectively means that companies like ours can now can get registered as a FSP or financial service provider and actually form part of the financial markets infrastructure within the South African community as well.
This, of course, where your end goal is emancipating capital markets, right? So you've gone through some of the ways you're looking to do this. For you, Connie, why does this matter?
For me, it matters because I don't see a difference between someone wanting to invest their 10 Rand or their 10 billion Rand, as I stated at the start. It is important for us to actually allow everyone to sit at the same table so we can effectively grow economies and deliver the value which the capital markets were designed in the first place to do so. And the only way that we can do that is by allowing everyone to trade in the same space on the same assets. And therefore, it is important for me so that these capital markets actually get emancipated and get opened to more and more people to have access to grow their capital.
Well, here's to more inclusive, more transparent, and more accessible markets, unlocking true market potential. Connie, it's been a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks so much for having joined us today.